everyone. Welcome to our Help Heal Veterans Presents Virtual Crafter Studio. Thank you for spending time with us today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. You should see a toolbar on your computer with some icons for the event. You've joined the presentation using your computer speakers for sound by default. If you prefer to join over the telephone, just select telephone in the audio settings and the dial-in information will be displayed. It is also in the chat box. Just to make sure everyone's hearing me clearly, I'm going to launch a poll. Please let me know how the sound is. Please note your microphone and camera will remain disabled during the event unless the moderator gives you the opportunity to ask a question live. I've disabled the chat for today's webinar, but if you have a question for our team, please use the raise your hand icon to ask the question live, or open the Q&A at the bottom of your screen and type in your question. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will do our best to get to them all. Also, we're recording this session and we'll make it available for within the next few days. If you would like to watch it again or share it with your friends, we'll send everyone an email with the link and put it on our website. I'd like to introduce some of our presenters. First, we have two of our craft care specialists. Out of our Maywood, Illinois community-based craft clinic, we have Rose. Rose has been with Heal Vet since 2008.
Hi, everyone.
And has presented our last two virtual crafting events. And out of our Temple, Texas community-based craft clinic, we have Trish. Trish has been with Heal Vet since 2017. And this is her first event, and we know she's gonna be great at it. And now I'd like to introduce Help Heal Veterans CEO, Joe Mclean, to kick off the Help Heal Veterans Presents a Virtual Crafter Studio.
Hey everybody, Capt and Joe here. Thanks so much for making the time to join us here today for what we consider to be your event. We all know that therapy and the kits that we provide by craft therapy are truly helpful for traumatic brain injury, PTSD, substance abuse, family bonding, pain management, a whole host of things. We also know that things are more impactful when they're done as part of a community effort. You don't have to be there, but if you get together as a group, it can be even more impactful. And so that's what we're trying to create here with our virtual crafter studio. This is your event. We give you these kits for free. We send about 350,000 about every year, and that's going up with COVID. And for those who've been part of our patient home rehab program, which are the folks in this call, you know that we're trying to accelerate more kits out on a more regular basis because we're getting some good support and from a lot of good partners there. But we want to make sure this is even more impactful going forward. So the number one thing I want to leave you with today is please let us know how we can make a better event for you to help with your particular issues. Knowing that we help a lot of veterans, you know, male, female, urban, rural, as well as age, you know, the young 18-year-old Marine back from the desert, all the way to our more senior and more wise vets who are Vietnam vets and other conflicts before that. So we're here to help all of you guys and gals. We want to do it the best that we can do the best there. I'd also like to offer a special shout out to the Elks. We have a lot of partners and a lot of small donors who help us, but from time to time, we've got some large, long-time helpers who are true believers in the veteran causes, and the Elks is one of those. They're at one of the top of that list there. They provide the leather that we're going to be working with today. You'll hear more about that going forward from some of their members. As always, also some support to help us get those kits out to you. So thanks for the Elks for all that you do, and some of the other partners you know who've been around, Southwest, Lazy Boy. They're great. We'll honor them as well going forward. But I just wanted to really make sure everybody knows the Elks are truly what made today's event happen. And with that, before I turn it over to Rose to get the event going, we do have something special for those folks who are on the call today, a little bonus thing, and we're pretty proud of. So we'd like to help wait till the end of the call to find out more about that. And Mike will talk about that a little bit later. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Rose to kick it off.
Hi everyone. So I'm happy to be here today, and today I am teaching you how to do the relief pitcher ball, which is right here. Here's the directions, leather from Elks. And right here is your finished project. So Trish and I are going to help you with that from start to finish. Your parts that you need are thread, a needle, 2 leather pieces, and your stress ball from the Veterans Crisis line. So those are the pieces you need for, we're going to put the ball aside for now, and we're going to get started threading your needle. So you're just going to thread the needle, and you're going to do a triple knot. And what we're going to try and do is, put the 3 knots on top of each other. So it's a big enough knot so that it won't pull through the holes. So that's what I'm doing right here. There's 2. If I could get my 3rd one, there you go. There's
Hey,
my
Rose, are
3
you
knots.
using the whole piece of thread?
Yes, the whole piece of thread that was included will do the whole ball. All right, so here's my 2 leather pieces. Now right here, they're both right side up. But what we're gonna do, we want part of the ball to be rough and part of the ball to be smooth. So it's more tactile for a stress ball. So I
Hey,
put,
Rose,
yes,
excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but
sure.
about the thread, the cord, what we did is we included a substantial length of cord wound on a card. So you really, on that particular kit, you're gonna want to use about 3 feet.
Okay, good, because I didn't
Sorry
get
about
the
that.
Hank one. Yeah, good.
You did not, you got the samples.
Yeah, thanks
Okay,
for,
back-
okay, thanks for clarifying. So yeah, the thread is about 3 feet long, so cut yourself a piece that's about 3 feet. Okay, so I have 1 rough side, 1 smooth side. I'm looking for the notches. There's little notches in the edge, 1 on the edge and 1 on the dipped part. So what we want to do is we want to match the 2 notches, just like that, 1 rough side, 1 smooth side. Then I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to insert the needle in between the 2 layers because this is actually your inside. So you want the knot to be inside. And I'm going to pull, so see my knots right there. And I'm going to try and keep the notches lined up, and I'm going to sew what's called a running stitch. So I could find the hole. There we go. Pull it through. Notches lined up. Actually, yeah, just like that. And I'm going to continue sewing my running stitch all along the edge. So if you look at it, it's just going to be going in one side, out the other. Just like that. And sometimes, like you could see, the little pieces of leather are punched through. So you just poke them out with your needle and keep going. So if you look at it, you could just see a few stitches. Actually, you know what? I did this wrong. But anyway, we're going to continue sewing. You're going to keep going until you get halfway. So you're going to do a few stitches. And here, I'm going to show you my mistake, just so you know. See, I did right sides together. So I have 2 rough sides. It's supposed to be like this. But really, in the long run, it really doesn't matter. But you want 1 rough side and 1 smooth side. Hope that didn't confuse you. But I'm going to keep sewing this just so you could see the process.
Rose,
Yes.
we've had a veteran say it's a little too fast, so maybe we'll just
Okay.
slow it down a little bit, do a few more stitches for them.
Okay, Ashley, what I'm gonna do then, which this will probably help since I have right sides together. I am going to start over and do it the right way so that everyone knows the right way, and we'll go from there. Okay. And then that way we could see the correct way, and it gives everybody a little more time. So I'm nodding. Okay, so now if I flip this over, my notches are all lined up. See, now I have a right side and a wrong side. So guess we started out doing the wrong way. Now I'm going to do the right way. Since I was going too fast, it all worked out. Here we go. Now this is the correct way. See, I'm the one who's done these before, and I started it out wrong. All right, so now we are, here we go, I'll stop. We have a right side and a wrong side, and I'm continuing to stitch along the edge. But the way I did it with the two rough sides, or if you end up doing it with the two smooth sides out, in the, you're still going to have a great stress ball. So don't get stressed out about it. You just, keep going and it'll still come out great. So I am going to continue like that, just stitching along the edge. Now I pull the stitches pretty tight as I go, just so I won't have to go back and tighten them. But if they're not tight enough, Trish will explain later how to tighten them up once we get going a little more. All right, so see, I've done a few stitches. You could see that. What we're going to do is we're going to stitch all the way around halfway. So the first step is all the way around to here. I'm going to continue stitching until we get to here. And the way, this is what it's going to look like. This is our first step. So you have a little pocket to put your ball in. So, that's the first step of your sewing. Now we're going to give you some time to do that. And Tracy, are there any other questions?
Doesn't look like there are any questions at this time. So we will throw that over, we'll toss it over to Chip. Are you there, Chip?
I am. I'm out here in the production department, and I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce and welcome Mary Morgan from the Elks, joining us from home base in Chicago.
Hello, thank you for the introduction, Chip. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My name is Mary Morgan. I'm the Director of Veteran Services for the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks. I'm really happy to be here today. As mentioned before, the Elks have been a long time strong supporter of Help Heal veterans and the work that they do. We're proud to contribute. As mentioned before, the leather that you're using in your craft today comes directly from our volunteers. So Elks members across the country partner with hunters and their communities to collect donations of hides from all over. Then the Elks come together, they collect these hides, they finish all that donated leather, and we use it for three main purposes. We use some of the leather to make wheelchair gloves for veterans, and then we distribute these at adaptive sports events all over the country. We donate a little bit of this leather directly to recreation therapists at the VA. But the bulk of the leather that we do collect goes directly to Help Heal veterans to help with the work that you're doing today. In fact, last year alone, Elks donated more than 122,000 square feet of leather to help heal veterans. And that was able to make a lot of these kits, which were especially helpful over the last year, I am told. So I'm really proud to be here today. I hope you enjoy the craft kit, and we are happy that we can support veterans through this work.
And back to you, Chip.
Welcome back to production department. Thank you, Mary, for that wonderful statement and speech for us. But what we're doing is we're going to show you what we're doing today in the production department, and we're cutting more of the relief pitcher leather pieces. This is how we use it. It's called a clicker press. It's a general type of equipment that's used in manufacturing any type of leather material. And what she's doing is using these dies, and they're like a giant cookie cutter. So what that's doing is it's cutting the shape as well as punching all the holes all at one time. And what that can do, the reason we use that die is so that you can cut around all the imperfections of the leather. You can see, for example, the hole. That's so that you can cut and generate high quality surfaces opposed to the imperfections in the leather, because leather is a natural item. So the deer, as it's being going through the brush, it can have scars and have imperfections, and that allows us to cut around those bad spots. And so what we're doing, we always have multiple dies. So she's using the base of the relief pitcher ball pattern, but also this is another piece. And what we do is we cut this gusset, and it goes onto this strap for a pouch. Some of you longtime recipients of the crafts at home have probably received these, but we also emboss the image and attach the eyelets for these pouches. And then we also, so we don't waste any leather, we have these tabs that we cut, and that is used, as Mary said, on the wheelchair gloves that the Elks provide to veterans in events. And that's just signifying that the glove came from the Elks. So we don't waste any material. So you can see as Sandra's finished cutting her leather, every little small piece of leather is cut. So she's cutting every little tiny little space. And then after it's done, she can hold up what we like to call the skeletons. And that's all the leather that we've used. So we've used every almost square inch that we can. And if bigger pieces are there, it's because usually the quality is not there. But while we're talking deer skin, that we wanted to show the warehouse, all these pallets in green wrap, that's deer skin. That's all Elks generated deer skin. That's over 100,000 square feet. And the mailing that you just received, we were able to use about 3 pallets of that material for that one mailing. So we use them for moccasins and pouches. And a lot of those items don't get shipped to home because of the, moccasins you can't because of size and everything. But we are using them every day. So I'd like to turn this over to the next presenter, and hope you enjoyed showing you what we're doing today. First step.
Thank you, Chip. So Trish and Rose, we don't have any questions at this time, so I will send it back over to you to continue the instruction.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you very much. Let's see. I'm going a little slower, obviously, than Rose is a whiz at this and getting it done. But I kind of wanted to take my time and tighten it up as I, because 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 Rose is really smart, she keeps it tight all the time as she's going around. But I like to usually do about 3 or 4 stitches and then go back and tighten those up a little bit and go from there. So as you're finishing up the ball here, hopefully, I mean, where's everybody at? Does anybody want to tell me about where they're at? Are we kind of caught up now to almost halfway? That would be awesome. I guess I need to move it along, huh? This is super fun. I love the running stitch. It's very calming for me. It's just slowly working my way around. So we're about ready to put the ball in at this point. So when you take your stress ball and kind of tuck it in here, as we're finishing the stitches, Rose is really good at like pushing down with her thumb to get it nice and squished down to get this even tighter. That's another reason why I usually go back and do 3 or 4 stitches, and I'll show you what I mean. So here I'll do one, and then I'll go back and take my needle and just kind of tug it up a little bit, maybe go back a few stitches here. And let's see if we can see it. There we go. Kind of tug it up and then go to the next one, do the same thing and work my way down. And that just kind of pulls everything a little bit tighter, and you'll have less work to do when we get down towards the end of this. So Rose, didn't you have another tip on how to hold this together?
Yeah, actually, I sometimes will, like while I take on the opposite end, I will take a twist tie or a piece of wire and kind of tie it a little bit just to kind of hold it together.
Okay.
And so then it will, and push it and twist it. So it kind of keeps it together a little bit more. There you go. Just like that, because it kind of helps. And then I'll also, like as I'm going, I stick my thumb like right inside and push the ball down and, with one hand and so with the other. So it keeps it, that way it's tight right away. And I don't usually have to go back and tighten. See, you can see a piece of wire. It just kind of holds it together. It doesn't matter if the holes are lined up at this point, but it keeps it together. And then I'll take my nail, like my thumb, and push down on the ball, and then with one hand and sew with the other and pull it tight. So it kind of, keeps it together and keeps it tight right away.
I like that. Also, I don't know if anybody has like these little binder clips. I mean, this is a fun little orange one, but those little black binder clips are really good sometimes for the same thing. If you don't have wire or twisty tie sitting around, you can just kind of take a binder clip to kind of hold it down as well. Just who knows, maybe you got a office supply stuff you can snag from somebody. That's awful helpful. But yeah, let's go ahead and get a few more stitches done here. And how's everyone doing out there? Busy stitching? Isn't it great to hear where this leather comes from? I always love that. That's one of my favorite parts. So I'm gonna stitch this down, and I'm gonna go back and kind of check to see how tight I am here. Maybe tighten it up a little bit more. And remember, when we get finished with this ball, as you get all the stitches done, right before we finish it off, we're going to go back and start from the beginning. So remember where you're, where is it? Here's the beginning of where I started at. You're going to go back there, and you're going to go back over your stitches and start pulling them up with your needle to tighten them up as you go along. Because then when you finish up, it's going to be this nice, pretty, no gaping holes. And you actually won't be able to see this ball at all that's inside of there. Nice and squishy though, isn't it? All right. Do we have any questions at all, Tracy?
So we have one veteran who says that they used a C-clamp to hold the ball down while he was finishing. And another veteran just wanted to say thank you to the Elks. The leather's amazing, and they have nothing but love for them. So,
I love that. C-clamp. Well, that's really being use what you got, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so then our next presenter is Help Heal Veterans Board member, Dr. Keith Stucy. Keith is a primary care sports medicine physician specializing in traumatic brain injury. He spent 23 years on active duty with tours at naval hospitals in Keflavik, Camp Pendleton, and Camp Lejeune. He also set up the DoD's first in-theater concussion clinic in Afghanistan in 2010. Currently, he serves as a subject matter expert working with the Traumatic Brain Injury Center of Excellence. Please welcome Dr. Keith Stucy.
Well, thank you, Tracy. So for everyone out there in virtual land, it's truly an honor to be here with all of you. As Tracy said, I was a Navy primary care sports med doc for 23 years, retired about 6 years ago. And I've been with the board here at Help Heal Vets for going on almost 3 years. And I think that the work that we do is really fantastic. And I hope all you are getting some benefit out of this. And so one of the things that I am a specialist in is traumatic brain injury. And through that, I got to be involved with a project a few years back called Mind Body Medicine. And this is more when I was on active duty. And from that, I've used a lot of these techniques in my practice. And I think it's a very timely project for what we're doing here today. And so I just wanted to give 5 to 10 minutes and talk to you folks about mindfulness, what it means, and how you can possibly integrate it into your daily lives. So I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint here. So let's just make sure that, can everyone see that? We good to go?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, perfect. So I hope you can all see this. So I just want to, like I said, spend a few minutes here, and I put in the title here, mindfulness, but there's another title that some of you may or may not heard of. It's called In the Zone. And that's kind of a broader topic, a term that we use that includes mindfulness. And I just wanted to include that because sometimes people may hear that and be like, well, what exactly is that? And so what is mindfulness? And honestly, it's the technical definition, when you pare it down, is what we call this moment-to-moment non-judgmental awareness. And you're saying, what the heck is that, Keith? Well, what it really means is that we are aware of who we are, what we're doing at the time, and not being overly reactive to what's happening in our environment, okay? And so the best example I can give is being mindful is honestly doing the kit right now that you're doing. I can take that example, and the fact that you're focusing on one thing right now, hopefully for most of you or for all of you, if you happen to make a mistake, it's not a big deal. Rose earlier, she found out that she was doing the stitching a little bit off, and she didn't panic. She just said, okay, it happens and I'm going to move on. And that's honestly what mindfulness is all about. And there are really two components of it, but it's participating in something, accepting it, and then kind of experiencing those sensations. And ultimately, it triggers what we call the relaxation response in our body. And I'm going to get more into that in a second. But that's ultimately what it does, and it can be very helpful. As I mentioned earlier, the broader term that we use oftentimes is something called in the zone, and that can encompass a whole lot of different things, and mindfulness is just part of that kind of being in the zone. So if you guys can see this little cartoon here, I love this because it's really, you see the person walking the dog, and is it mindful, 2 words, or are you mindful? And on the left, you can see that's typically us, all humans. We have a lot going on in our lives and a lot of emotion and a lot of things that we're trying to jumble all at once. And here the dog is just going on its little walk and just enjoying the surroundings, and their minds are probably always mindful. So I think this is a good way to describe the difference from your mind being full and actually being mindful. And hopefully that can help you kind of see what that means. So I'm a doctor and partially a scientist, and I like to look at benefits, right? If I give a medication to someone, there's always risks, there's always benefits. And I was thinking about this morning that, as a physician, if I was taught in med school that I could give someone a pill that would help with their heart rate, reduce pain, improve a focus and attention, improve memory, all these great things, I would say, sign me up. What is that? What is that drug? What is that pill? And as you'll see here, mindfulness does all of these incredibly great things. And I think as physicians, oftentimes we don't think about stuff like this, but I want you all to think about this, because I think there are things you can incorporate into your daily life that will help your health, your overall health, because there's just a lot of wonderful things. So first of all, it can help with your heart rate, your breathing rate, especially when you do breathing exercises that we're going to show you. It can really help with oxygen consumption, which is always a great thing. There are studies to show that it can improve attention and focus. So just by taking time out of your day and doing either a project like you're doing right now, or even just sitting down and outside and enjoying your surroundings and focusing on the environment, that can help with attention and focus. It's been shown in some studies to reduce pain. We know that the craft kits, we did a survey a couple of years ago, and we showed that people in general that do the kits, it helps reduce their overall pain, which is a wonderful side benefit. It increases your positive emotion. It can even help reduce depression and anxiety. So if any of you have that out there, this is one thing that we teach people as a very simple thing to do that can help you with that. Compassion, I think in today's day and age, it seems like we're so polarized, a little compassion isn't going to hurt. So I think it's been shown to help with that. And also, Joe talked earlier about, social connection, and especially during COVID, where it's been very tough. An event like this, we can help kind of connect people, even if it's virtual, and doing some mindfulness activities, especially in a group, can be very beneficial. And the last thing I'll say is the memory component. Again, it affects a certain part of the brain. And if you do this on a regular basis, there's actually studies to show that it can improve your cognition and your memory, which obviously is a wonderful thing, especially as we all age a little bit. So there are various techniques that we talk about. I think the two most common that people have heard of are breathing techniques and meditation. And so there are various types of meditation. I put down just several that I teach. Body scan, there's something called progressive muscle relaxation. But those two techniques are probably the most common. But things that people may not be aware of, journaling, and what we call daily affirmation and awareness. I mean, just the art of putting down your thoughts at the end of the day for 5 or 10 minutes can be very beneficial, and that's a mindful activity. Some of you may participate in yoga or qigong. That's another form of mindfulness. You're in the moment, concentrating on that, and it has benefits. Social connection, again, mentioned that. And then lastly, I've already talked a little bit about it, but the arts and crafts. And there have been several papers that have been written specifically on crafting, like you're doing today, and how it can actually help with various things, all those things we talked about earlier with relaxation and stress and memory and everything. It's been shown to do that, which is, for me, as a physician, being on the board is such a great thing to witness and to see all of you do this and know that it's helping. So there's really 2 steps to being mindful. It's pretty simple. The first part is that you have a focusing tool, and that could be a breath that you take, focusing on that. It could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be a prayer. You could visualize something like we do in meditation. And then the other thing is, and people are surprised when I talk about this, but it's non-judgmental. And what we mean by that is that if you're doing a project or doing something and you mess up, which we all do, that you're not critical on yourself. You're not beating yourself over your head because you did something wrong. And that gets into play with meditation. And a lot of times it's hard to focus. And we always teach that you always come back and focus on your breath and whatnot, but not getting upset or just getting really frustrated. It's best try not to do that. And that's really, if you're mindful, that's what it's all about. So there's a couple of breathing techniques. I'm sure several of you have maybe even done these yourself, but The two that I commonly talk about, one is very simple. It's literally counting up to a number, usually 3, 4, 5. And it's as simple as taking a breath in and counting to yourself 1, 2, 3, 4 as you inhale. And then as you exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course, I'm doing a little fast, but that's essentially how you do it. And you can take these little breaks throughout the day when you're stressed out, and even if you're not stressed out, just to help you relax. The other one is called the box method. This is very well known in the military, especially within the SEAL community. This is one of the methods that they use. And you can see here by the box that I have, what it involves is inhaling and then holding your breath for a period of time, and then exhaling and holding again. And when you first start out, these numbers, you can do however long you want, however long you can tolerate. 2, 3 seconds inhale, holding it for a second, and then 2, 3 seconds exhale is totally fine. As you get better at it and do it more often, these numbers start to go up. And I know that, again, like in the SEAL community, oftentimes these folks can hold their breath for 10 seconds or 15 seconds and do 5 to 8 seconds on their inhale and exhale. So it's something you practice, but as you practice, you get better. And again, there's a lot of great benefits to that. So lastly, how can you introduce this into your everyday life? Well, the first thing is I always recommend people kind of take time and appreciate your surroundings. And this can be as simple as walking to your car or going out to get your mail. We did an exercise once where we were told to do that as part of a class. And I was amazed. Every day I used to walk from my car to work when I got there. And I never stopped and realized that there were 2 fruit trees on the path that I walked. I didn't even know they were there. And you can hear birds chirping and different sounds, wind going through trees. So just the simple fact of or appreciating your surroundings and being in the moment, that's being mindful. Breathing, we really recommend breathing techniques, and the 2 that I showed you, if you can implement that once or twice a day, especially when you're feeling stressed out, that can really be helpful. And then the last thing is the meditation. Again, that's the most common form of mindfulness, usually that people are familiar with. If you haven't already done it, there's lots of, if you can get online and go to the internet and just search, there's a lot of free meditations out there where they'll actually walk you through it. Many gyms, I live in Bremerton, Washington, and we have YMCA here, and they offer meditation classes 2 or 3 times a week. Community centers do it. I also know that many of the VA hospitals now have integrated mindfulness and meditation into their clinics. And then ask your provider, whoever your primary care doc is, about any community resources that you have, because many times they offer free classes, especially to seniors. So those are just some simple things you can do to help out. And I hope that that kind of piques your interest in it. And you can try a few of these simple, at least breathing techniques, and continue with the kits, because again, we know that just sitting down in the act of doing the kit is something that's very mindful, and it can help you. And I'm sure all of you have maybe even witnessed some of the benefits. So that's all I have. Hope I didn't go too long, Tracy. But if you guys have any questions, you can either, I guess, I don't know how you're going to do it, either put them in the chat or shout out or whatever, but I'll be around for about 10 more minutes. And if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. So we did have a suggestion. My Hope Box app has guided meditations. Otherwise, if any questions, please let us know and we'll let Keith know. I did have another question came up earlier that was, what are our presenters' favorite crafts that they like to do? Keith, do you have one?
So, my favorite one that I did, and it just came out great, was the coin, kind of the coin box one. And I don't know how often that gets sent out, but that's a wooden one. And that, I have that in my office, well, former office, but it's just so nice. And from the coins that I had received when I was on active duty, it's a very special kit for me because it's just, it reminds me of HHV, of Heal Vets, but also it's a very practical thing to have. I actually stained it, which I know sometimes some of you guys may do that with some of the wood products. So, I've done a few of these, but that one for me is really special just because it's got some meaning to it.
Thank you. Okay. How about Trish, Rose, what are your favorite crafts?
Go ahead, Rose.
I love doing any type of crafts, but I love the leather because I like to sew, and anything that has beads. I make jewelry on the side. I always have loved making jewelry. I do interior decorating. So anything that, anything crafty, interiors, leather, I just love doing all of it. And, but especially the sewing, to me, it's really therapeutic. Just that in and out, movement is very therapeutic. I love it. Trish?
Yep, I agree. I do like when it comes to leather, there's something about the playing card case I really love to do because that plastic lacing is not always everyone's favorite, but it looks really good when you do a double stitch on the outside. It just looks so really nice and pretty up and down the side of it. That's my favorite when it comes to leather or lazy boy material. And my other one, and I just happen to have it next to me, so I'm going to show it real quick, is the shadow box. So this is one of my favorites. I can't tell you how many I have made. I love it because you can use it as a shadow box, and there's this really nice groove that you can slide in plexiglass to make it look like an actual shadow box and have your memories in it. Or you can get a little more creative and do crazy stuff like Trish.
Lovely, thank you. And we did have one of our guests on here say thank you to Keith. They were breathing in and out 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out a few times while they were stitching, and it worked great.
That's awesome. Yeah, and combining, I didn't say this, but combining breathing with doing the kit, that's even better, right? So if you can do the two things at once and they're both mindful, that's great. So and even taking a break in between the stitching and a few seconds to do just some deep breathing it can be beneficial. It really can be beneficial. So thanks for that.
Thank you. And so on to Rose and oh nope, I'm wrong. We're off to Chip for more of the warehouse.
I'm here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're in a different area of the warehouse to show you some different jobs. Right now, we have 2 laser cutters. And the laser cutters are cutting this newly designed memorial candle. And we've chosen to illuminate it by using an LED candle. They're not set up for flame candles, but any type of lighting works. But what it does is that we put a piece of fabric on the inside. We have the flag. We have the other side, the cross illuminated. And another one for picture frame. Ignore the face. That's just for me. But we also, reminded me, I forgot, this is the 50th anniversary of Helping Veterans, and we do want to make sure that is brought into focus. But we're going to show you the laser kits as they're cut. And what we do is we take a flat 8-inch piece of Luan board, MDF board, and this laser machine is actually decorating the wood, but it's also going to cut out the pieces. So it's a multi-stage process for the first step so that the pieces don't move out of their registration. It decorates it. And then in the other machine, we're actually cutting the side panels out. And this is cutting the flag portion right now. It's already done the decorations. But these machines do the decorating plus the cutting. And then after it's all finished, then we punch them out and we include them in the kits. And I know there's probably some of you that are saying, I want that right away. Be patient. It takes a long time to cut, and we're going to do a future mailing with these. So hope you enjoy those when they come up. But while we're up in this area, we wanted to show Lazy Boy, who's donated material to us. And what they've done is these seats that have been discontinued, they have given them to us to disassemble and use them on our craft kits. So these happen to be fabric. So what Caesar's doing is he's disassembling the seats because you can see where they're sewn together. And what after he disassembles them, that puts them in a condition so that we can put them down on the clicker machine like you saw earlier with showing the leather deerskin cutting. But what this is doing is it makes it flat so that we can cut the shapes out and turn them into craft kits for everyone. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the production. Look forward to doing the next one and show you a couple other jobs that we're working on. So any questions? If any questions developed?
We don't have any questions at this time. So I will have Rose and Trish go ahead and finish the relief picture. And if questions come up, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Trish, did you want to explain how to pull up the stitches to tighten, and then I'll do the knotting and the embellishment?
That sounds great. So this one I had already done, but obviously wherever you're at with the ball, take your time in enjoying the process. And when you're completed, when you're almost done, so we're down to like the last little bit of these stitches here, like maybe one or two, start back where we had our knot at. Use this really nice needle. I like it because it's blunt enough. It's not going to punch through your leather unless you're really strong. And then grab, I like doing it on this edge here on the outside because it just seems to work nicer. But I just kind of get underneath it and pull it up, and then you can either go to the other side or you can continue on. We talked earlier about making what if we do something that we think's wrong and what we're doing on this kit. I love this material. So not only the leather is really pretty forgiving and nice and stretchy, so it can handle what we're doing, but the cording that we have here can handle it. If you have to take it all apart, if you have to pull this back out and start over to relace, it can handle it. So I always like that part because I make mistakes. Everybody does, right? So anyways, you're going to keep going along to each one and just pull it up as tight as you can. I mean, you don't have to rip it, but what it'll do is it'll hold nicer. So when you get to the point here, you can see it here. Now, when you get to this point, you can see all the edges and how they stand up. You're going to start seeing this nice, smooth edge inside and outside. If something doesn't look like it's tight enough or it looks like a little dimply, like here, I've got this little part here, we're not going to get it perfect, which is not for, right? You're using this for stress relief. But so like this is a little dimply here. I could probably take my needle in here, pull up the stitch a little bit, maybe even go to the back side of it to the next one and pull it and tighten it up a little bit more, and then work it along the edge as you keep going. Then we're going to get to the point to where now we're down to our last stitch here. Okay, take it away, Rose.
Okay, so now, you've done your last stitch and you are ready to finish it off. So see the thread is on the outside. So what I'm going to do is just tuck the needle into the next stitch. It doesn't matter which way you go. And you want to bring the needle out between the two layers, just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to knot it. So then you're going to take your needle, and since now it's in between the two layers, so you're going to run it under a stitch or two that's in between. So see, it's coming out right in between. And you're gonna pull it. But then when you see this loop, you're gonna put your needle through and pull it. So what it's doing is it's creating a knot, and it's gonna secure your end, and you're gonna pull it tight. And you actually do have a knot in there, but it's really hidden. And then you're just gonna trim the end. And your ball is done. Just like that. So I also, real quick, while you're finishing that up, I want to show you, we have just a couple ideas in case you want to, bling up your ball. Here I just painted, whoops, gotta go this way, HHV with a metallic marker and outlined it, and then put a 50 on it since it's our 50th anniversary. But this is perfect, to put initials or a name or whatever to personalize the ball if you want to give it to your, son, grandson or kids or whatever. This one, I just took some jump rings that are jewelry jump rings. They're real light. I think they're aluminum, and just poked them through one of the holes just to kind of embellish your ball a little bit. And Trish also had a great idea with this. If you have one or two or whatever, hook it, put a hook on it, a lanyard or something, keep it in your car so you could have it hanging and hook it onto something so that your ball is readily available in case you're stressed out. So there's the jump rings.
Rose?
Yeah, I see that. My phone is goofing out, but I'll show you this way.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was just saying, I was making a mistake finishing off my ball. I didn't know if you wanted to go over that again.
Sure, go ahead.
You do it, because I'm making a mess out of mine.
Okay. So here the close-up camera, I don't know why it's not working, but here you go. Here's the jump rings. And then my last idea is you could paint it. Now, I'm in Chicago, so we have a Sox logo and a Cubs logo. So you could hand paint it, just make it your own, and then you're good to go. Or looks just as good when it's plain. And by the way, here's one that has both smooth sides. Remember, I started out, doing it the wrong way. Looks just as good that way. So I think we're all done, and I hope you enjoyed it. Does Trish, you have any other tips, or is there any questions?
No tips, but I can you just kind of go over the process of finishing the ball real quick, because I really kind of,
Okay.
I don't know, everybody can probably see me struggling over here.
All right. I'm going to have to do it with this other screen because my phone is not cooperating, but.
Okay. I feel like I made too big of a knot in here.
So your thread is coming out the side. Now I want the needle to go through and come out in between the two layers.
Okay.
Just like that. Hopefully you guys could see that. See how it's coming out?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to pull the thread so it's out between the two layers. Then I'm going to run the needle in between the two layers under a stitch or two. Doesn't matter. Okay, if you could see how the needle is in between under a couple stitches. And then I'm going to pull it and see the loop. I'm just going to put my needle through that, and it creates a knot.
Ah, okay.
So then you just pull it and trim it, and you're good to go.
Nice. Good job, Rose. Thanks.
So that's, anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions at the moment. Most of them were about not being able to see, which now that you've redone it, we're doing well. So does
Okay.
anybody have any questions for any of our speakers or presenters, or anything you'd want to say? Let us know. We have awesome thanks. So that's great. We're so glad everyone could be with us today. I'm going to kind of throw this over to our VP of Development, Mike Fisher, and let him close us out for the day then.
Thank you, Tracy. I have one quick special announcement for just take a moment. But first off, I wanted to thank everyone for attending the virtual Crafter Studio, and a special thank you to Southwest Airlines, Humana Veterans, the Sons of AMVETS, Estee Lauder, and Avita for their interest in what we're doing. We're finding a lot of corporate groups are interested in helping veterans, very similar to what the Elks have done. And that's where we have a very big thank you to the Elks for sponsoring. They actually paid to get these craft kits to you. They sponsored the postage, and they gave us the leather, and Mary joined us today. So Mary, thank you for your time, and thank you for the Elks interest in veterans. It's been amazing 20 years of work we've put in together. As a very special bonus, some people were asking about the Memorial Day kit that Chip was showing on the laser cutter. Everybody that's on here today, we have your address. We're going to send you one now as a bonus kit. And all I ask is, will you put it together, decorate it however you wish, whether decorations or just plain, put your favorite veterans picture in there that you might be remembering from Memorial Day, and send us a photo of it. Send us a photo of you in the kit, or just the kit. That would be very appreciated. It's a very new item, but people were asking about it on this, and since you've made it through the whole hour here, we thank you, and that's our presentation for today. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you everyone for attending. We're so happy to have you here today. Our next event is on May 19th at the same time. So we're hoping you'll join us then. And again, please put together those Memorial Day candles and send us your photos. We'd love to see them. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.